All right, everybody. So let me explain the topic, and I'll explain how the session is going to work, and then we'll proceed with that. So first, the debate club is a online community of people, anybody who's interested in intellectual conversations. This is something that we started in 2023. I think 24, late 24, we started this, and we were running this for over a year, and then we kind of took a pause. So we're back after a year of like a sabbatical that we didn't conduct these sessions, and we're back now to start doing this on a weekly basis. So the rationale behind like starting this was that like we wanted to have a space where people can come and have bidirectional discourse, meaning there is typically, if you look at how intellectual discourse happens in India or anywhere else as well, you have like people who broadcast their conversations, and then there are people who consume that conversation, whether it's on a TV or your newspaper or YouTube channels or whatever podcast. All of these are like unidirectional, as in like some people have the discourse, and then everybody else is supposed to just consume that, and there is no way to for you as a consumer to impact that conversation. So the reason we started this debate club is to have facilitate like a space where people can come in and have conversations that go both ways, where we can have people who represent either side of any certain topic, and then we can have conversation that happens between those two. And over a year of running these sessions, what we've noticed is that like online, if you go anywhere, it's usually easy to see like really low quality discussions or conversations that are very disrespectful to the other side. But over a year of running these like weekly voice-based debate sessions, what we've noticed is that people are very respectful typically when joining these voice sessions where it's live call, and you're speaking on your own voice, and whatever viewpoints you have, you can respectfully state those. And it's been a really productive time running these sessions, and it's been very informative as well. We all come in and we learn a lot about our own perspective on things. When we try to clarify our perspective, we learn how we think as well. Instead of keeping it in your head, when you speak it out loud, you actually start seeing your own perspective with more clarity. And then when the other side hears that, or when you hear the other side, you get to see the other side with more clarity. And overall, it just enriches your perspective on whatever the topic of discussion is. So it's been really productive. And the only reason we took a hiatus from running these sessions since last year was that like there was a little bit of like a moderation overhead. There is some amount of effort that is required to run these sessions, and I didn't have the personal bandwidth or the capacity to hire somebody to do it, and we took a break from that. But I've been missing these. I've been missing these conversations, and I really want to keep engaging the community again on this. So that's why we're back, and I really hope that you guys stick in, and we can go on a journey where we can like really this whole thing is about enriching the quality of discourse in India. Because the quality of public discourse in India is very low, in my opinion, and I'm sure others may feel that way, or if you disagree, you can state that. But I think this is like a small initiative for people to come in and actively participate in enriching the quality of public discourse in India. And often people join this thinking that this is like a debate club, as in we're trying to like improve your debate skills or communication skills. I mean, that's a side effect. That's not the main intent behind the debate club. It's more towards enriching the quality of public discourse. And obviously, when you participate, you do see that you're improving in your communication skills or your reasoning abilities or any of these other things. So I hope that that's clear about what is the fundamental premise behind what we are trying to do. Now, coming on to the format of these discussions, it's not a typical debate. I mean, most of you in the whatever context you're familiar with debates, those typically tend to be like formal debates where you have like two sides, and there are there are like teams, and these teams get like a finite amount of time each, and then they kind of like group together, and they come up with their attack strategy, and then they present their point of view, and then the other team does the same, and then there is a judge that moderates the decisions or the outcome of the discussion. We tried doing that in the very beginning, and it wasn't really that effective for for the context in which we're running these sessions, because like we don't have the bandwidth to pre-vet participants. And it really was like a mess, because like we didn't have anybody who was coming in with the right level of preparation for those kind of like conversations. So what we ended up doing was we just decided to have like an open discussion model where each of you represents your own point of view, and it's not like a for or against kind of a conversation. You can bring in nuanced perspectives, and you'll have the space to present your point of view. So how this is going to work practically, logistically, is that if you once we start the discussion, I'll basically start by explaining the context of the topic, and if you want to speak your mind or say your piece, basically you'll have to go to the react button, and there is an option to raise hand, and that's how you join the queue. So if you want to speak, you raise your hand. I mean, at the bottom, if you're new to using Zoom, there's basically like a react button at the bottom, and you can click on that, and there's an option to raise hand. And once you do that, you'll get into the queue, and we'll basically go on the basis of who raised their hand first, and then you'll basically get like up to 5 minutes. You can even like end it in 2 minutes, but up to 5 minutes per person, per round basically. You get to like represent your point of view, and you can go in depth, and you don't have to stick specifically to for or against. You can say your nuanced perspective, and somebody else who wants to respond to that can then raise their hand again, and they can join the queue. So there is no finite like limit on how many rounds we have. Like I'm going to be the host for this session. I'm going to be moderating this, and I will basically make a case by case decision of like what is reasonable. If you've been like keep on speaking, then that's not fair. I would love to let others speak. So if I see that like you're joining the queue over and over, I'd probably like prioritize somebody else who's next to you, and we let it speak. So I'm trying to keep this as informal and casual and welcoming to everybody as possible. So the rules are kind of it's really optimized for maximum engagement for all the different participants present here. All right, so now coming on to the topic. So I hope you guys had a chance to look at the fact sheet. The topic for this session, by the way, like the way we choose the topics is that like we have a website, and when you go to the website, like there is an option to like submit your topic, and everybody gets to like this is a public submission. Like, anybody can submit the topic, and we curate the topic, and we sort of like rephrase it for maximum impact, and then we put up a poll on WhatsApp, and based on whoever like signs up, I mean like whoever like votes the most. Whichever topic gets the most votes, we sort of like sort the upcoming debate sessions from the highest votes first. And so this session's topic is basically AI is supposed to compromise human cognition and intelligence, agree or disagree. So let me give some context on this topic. I mean, I'm sure like most of you guys are aware of like what's been happening in the scene. ChatGPT launched like late 2022, and since then, it's been like a rapid evolution of what the technology can do. And basically what happened is that like initially we had like this chatbot type of interface, and then people started building on top of it. Basically, the LLM technology is like next token prediction, and it's driven on natural human language output that is accumulated, and the models are trained on that data, and it spits out these like token prediction, which creates like very sensible and intelligible like text. Now, based on that, like people started building more and more advanced like wrappers around it, and we've had like really an explosion of technology that is using this semantic intelligence. So over the past couple of years specifically, there's been a lot of applications that replace like low level human thinking. Like you don't have to you no longer have to spend time writing an email or a letter or something. You just like describe the task, and the AI acts as a assistant to like get the job done. And even this very fact sheet was written using Claude. So it's gotten very, very good at like doing all of these things. Now, this obviously poses a like question as to are we really compromising our cognition and intelligence by depending on something that we cannot control? and by depending, and any kind of like biological aspect atrophies over time through disuse. Whether like you're talking about your muscles, if you've seen somebody um, who's like bedridden because they're in coma or paralysis or something, you'll see that like their entire muscular structure is like atrophied over time, because like our body and our any sort of like biological aspects of our body responds to use. So the more you use it, the stronger it becomes, and the less you use it, the weaker it becomes. So that is the premise of the discussion, and you can on the one side you can argue that because we're depending so much on on AI for doing most of the things that we're starting to do, it's going to eventually atrophy our own ability to think and reason and ask questions and all of these things, and we're going to depend excessively on the technology, and it's going to atrophy our cognition. On the other side, you can point to various other things that have happened in the past where this kind of like a reaction has come from the public, where people say that okay, you're starting to use calculators and computers to do things, and slowly it's going to replace human beings, and all these. And we've seen that like overall people don't no longer think that way about calculators or computers. So maybe it's possible that like we have a similar response to AI over time. So that is the broad context of the conversation. And so now, whoever has anything to state as their opening statements, so you can raise your hand and you can get in the queue, and then you can represent your point of view, and we can start the discussion there. Now, before we get started, I'm going to start like a poll. I want you all of you guys to like respond to this poll. I hope you guys can see the questions. So the topic statement is basically AI is poised to compromise human cognition and intelligence. So if you agree with that, you can click on agree, and if you disagree with that, you can click on disagree, and if you're unsure, you can mention that. And I would prefer all of you answer this poll. It's really helpful for us. I got like 14 responses. We have like 21 people, 7 more guys. Can you please respond to the poll? And I have a question from Advaita in the comments. Can we ask a follow-up questions after somebody finishes their point to further clarify or justify it? This question answered it. Yeah, you can respond to others. That's the whole point of it. So you can get in the queue. Like so if you see somebody answering, making a certain point, you can then refer to that person's point and then like add to it or refute it. As long as you keep the conversation civil, like we really want to have a little bit of headbutting going on. Okay, like it's not about like just agreeing to everybody. You need to like respectfully disagree, and this is the entire point of the platform. Yeah, we will be having a poll at the end of this where we will like have a assessment to see if people's perspectives have changed, and that's something that we've noticed a lot is that like people when they come in they have a certain perspective and then they leave they have a different perspective. I'm just like waiting for a few more responses. Can you each of you please respond to the poll? Yeah, so if somebody makes a point that is like outright false, obviously if I notice that I'll call it out, or if you notice that you should call it out. All right, we have Kishan Kishore who's raised his hand first. So Kishan, please go ahead.
Hey folks, this is my first debate in TDC. Am I audible by the way?
Yes, Kishan, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is my first debate here, and excited to learn and observe, understand new perspectives. Given the debate of should I just directly dive into the topic, or do we need to give some introduction?
I mean, you can offer your perspective if it's relevant to your point of view. Yeah. If you want to share a little bit of background, that's fine too. Yeah.
Okay. So just to start with this topic specifically, when it says, the AI is poised to compromise on the human cognition and intelligence. So I'll just take one step back. I actually agree with this, but I'll just take one step back and try to start where this discussion should originally start from, right? So the discussion should actually start from the point of view that did humans or humanity specifically, if you see in and around you, just make these observation, and these are just I wouldn't say it would be just my personal opinions, but based on observations in and around me, I would have I'm just putting it forward that did humans ever have cognition and intelligence? When I say humans, I'm not talking about those 1%, 2% people. Yeah, they are consciously active. They're consciously working. They are, their cognition is active. I would say their intelligence is effective, right? But I'm talking about the remaining 98% or that 97%, because 1 to 2% of the population will always be there. I'm talking about the rest, right? So yes, AI is poised to compromise human cognition and intelligence. The biggest reason is that it's not because it is some kind of a superior power, right? The only thing that AI can do is uh, think, execute, evaluate, calculate, be aware at a very large scale, on a very large scale, and consistently it can do that. And if you just listen to those motivational speech, or if you actually have executed something in your personal life, like running a startup, doing something out of the mundane life, you will observe the same thing, that you will have to do lot of things at a very short period, like faster pace, and beyond everything else, you have to be very consistent about it. So, little bit background about, basically, I have a little, about Raghav's profile is that Raghav himself is doing some kind of, I hope you don't mind, Raghav. He himself is working on a side project, but he would relate with it, right? That doing something very consistently, you have to be very focused, keep on doing it, and do it at a very large scale, right? So Raghav's cognition is already active. He doesn't like AI is not going to impact him. But for majority of the population, it is going to impact him, not because AI is some kind of a superpower or it has some kind of a super intelligence. It can just keep doing same thing again and again. Just to give you another example, would be the Tesla's implementation into the basically implementation of AI and robotics into their factory, because it's a repetitive task. It can do it consistently, right? It doesn't have to create processes again and again. You can just create the process, upload it, and it will keep doing it unless there is a malfunction on the entire pipeline or the supply chain, right? So that would be an overview summary of it, right? And beyond everything else, we have to understand, like when we are suggesting a topic or when we are talking about or discussing about a topic like this, uh, one is the nuance, which makes someone that make someone feel that okay, this can be a reality, but nuances are not reality, right? So in cases like these where we are discussing a very critical topic, what we have to be ideally be very critical about it and actually find that real gap. So AI is not some kind of a superpower, super intelligent stuff, right? It just recognizes the pattern. Even humans do that. It's nothing new, right? Not something innovative. Yeah, we are able to transform it into a technology. That's amazing. That's a humanity's achievement. But yeah, with that, I'll just conclude by saying that no, I agree that human cognition will be impacted and compromised by AI, not because AI is basically superpower, but humans are dumb. As simple as that. I hope that was not very offensive, but if it was, I'm so sorry.
No, I mean it's okay to offend people. Okay, sometimes as long as you're doing it in a in a civil and polite way, it's fine. Now, let me summarize what you just said, Kishan. Basically, you're saying that like for people who have not activated their cognition, they have not started thinking for themselves. They're kind of like in their intelligence is like sort of like unactivated, if you can call it that. You're saying that those people are going to suffer adversely because of the advancement in AI, and for the people who already have it active, then it's going to like maybe they can leverage it better. Maybe what you're saying is that there's going to be like a cognitive divide, as in like it's going to divide the people it's just like there is a wealth inequality, maybe there is like a cognitive inequality, and that's going to be accelerated because of AI. I think that's like the gist of what I got from what you said. And I just want to like make one point that like it's not like it's fixed as to whether somebody's intelligence is activated or not. It's something I believe is not an innate trait. It's something that is like you can learn over time. And I think over time there is going to be like a economic incentive for people to develop it. So that like, and I think it's going to maybe have interesting results. Maybe it's not as clear as somebody can predict it. Anyway, Devneel, you can go ahead. Devneel, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hello everyone. Yes, this is also my first event in the debate club. But actually, but I what I feel is this AI would be, really would turn out to be really helpful in developing the cognitive intelligence, because I cannot relate to why it would be something which would not helping in increasing cognitive abilities and this thing. But I remember one instance when I was when the chat gpt came, and I was looking for few details, and I just went to chat gpt and I typed, and it gave me all the details, also the all the possible scenarios. And after going through, it was very easy for me to make for me to analyze and make decisions. And so I think this AI era would bring, or it would create, it would not create the cognitive inequality. In fact, it would reduce the cognitive inequality in the among the people in the society.
Okay. Is that it? I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're basically saying that like depends on how they use it. Like if you are using it in a way that is like
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
Right, because yes, because see, see right now what is happening, what this AI and these bots are doing is they are taking all the information from the web, and they are summarizing to exactly what you need, what you have, what you have, what are your questions. So it is already filling what it is already helping in what you are searching for it, and then it is giving all the details in a summarized format, so that you also filling that gap, and it is also helping in for your analysis part and decision making parts. So I think it is kind of a helpful, very much helpful if we use and utilize it in a perfect manner.
Okay.
Then it could, yes, that it could and be great thing.
All right. Thanks, Devneel. Yeah. Ekta?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
All right. First of all, thanks, Raghav, for conducting this. And yeah, even for me, this is the first time I'm being here. Quite excited to hear everybody. So I think so far we were talking about, so before starting, my stance would be like I agree, but at the same time, I'm unsure about quite a lot of things. So I want to take a step back and think like, what do we really mean by cognition? Because we can't forget that these models are trained on data of like all the people who have been on internet, like everything that's been crawled and mined from the internet is included in training these AIs. And if we think about India, like just take for example only India, a huge amount of people don't even get to the internet. So what about their views, opinions, and how do they think about it? So the ones who are not there, are they not like intelligent enough that their point of views aren't considered in training these AIs? So I really think in the longer run, this would even increase the disparity that we have, the inequality that we have among the world. And I mean, human cognition uh, is to be compromised or not. I'm not sure about that, but I do feel like if we don't include more and more opinions, and if it doesn't become nuanced and diversified, and we don't include a lot of like we don't have inclusivity in opinion, only the Bay Area people get to decide what should be included in AI. And again, we cannot humanize AI, right? We cannot just say that AI is supposed to compromise. No, the people who are making AI are compromising human cognition, and they are not like diversifying it enough. And for countries like ours, again, these are quite a lot of things, I know, but still, just last point that we just get to use AI. We don't get to build as much of it because of like the obvious reasons of like that we don't have the capacity for now or the infrastructure. So my problem is that certain set of people get to decide what AI should have. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Okay, so let me ask a couple of clarifying questions. So what you're saying is that like because of the disparities in terms of like what kind of a data is being used to train these models, there is a compromise in terms of like the representation of the points of view of the people whose points of view the data is trained on, the AI is trained on.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's a separate issue. I think we're talking about like the actual use of AI, or at least I think it's a separate issue. Maybe you can clarify if it's not. So because like the data that is used, it's like it's not just the Bay Area folks or like whoever is like doing it. They're doing it on open data, which is contributed to by like people around the world. And I don't know how the representation of the points of view has an impact on the cognition of the people who end up using the models that
No,
are.
because sorry, I
Go
cut you
ahead.
off.
Yeah, clarify. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just saying, like, you imagine we don't define intelligence in a linear way, right? It could be so many ways that, for example, artists, do we include that intelligence as well? Are we talking about that as well, or are we just like considering the analytical bits of intelligence that whoever is like good with numbers would be considered intelligent? So, for example, AI is able to create art, but would that be called intelligence? um and again, like my point of representation was that a lot of people, I don't know, maybe I need to sit more with it to be able to articulate what I was trying to say with the representation bit. So maybe I'll get back and we could hear others in the
No, that's
meantime.
that's awesome because like this is the whole point of it. Like I was saying in the beginning, like when you start speaking your mind, you start like having questions of your own, and this is a safe space for us to have these. Like it's not like when you come and say something, it has to be perfectly formed. You can form your thoughts along the process of doing it. So great, thanks for sharing that, Ekta.
Mhm.
Yeah, Venkat, please go ahead.
Raghav, just sorry for the interruption, Venkat. So I just had a small query. So like when someone says something and if you want to respond, so should we wait for that particular cycle? Then at times that chain of thought gets disturbed. What do you do?
You should get in the queue. Just like write it down, write it down and then like respond to it later. And also, Venkat, like there is an issue with your microphone. There is like a lot of static that is coming on when you unmute yourself. I want you to look into that. Can you check your microphone? Maybe like change it because I'm only hearing static when you unmute yourself. Maybe try rejoining the call. Try to change your thing mic and come back in. All right, Puneet.
Hey, hi everyone. Okay, I'm straight away I'm gonna start on my uh, view on this. So for me, actually, when Ekta said that it is going to increase the disparity, like what came to my mind was that it is going to increase the disparity between the people, like how they are going to use these AI tools, uh, and what they are using it for. And when Kishan said that about cognition and how it had been evolved, and that is also true where with each device or each invention, we in humans have been evolving, like with respect to cognition as well, and how it is going to affect us. That is something which can't be predicted. And if we come back to cognition and how it is going to affect our brain, and how we think and our creativity and stuff, that is also happening through many other mediums. It is not just AI. For example, short form content, short form videos are what is it like responsible for brain rot. So we are already consuming a lot of negative media, like and There's a lot which is not uncertain. But the thing is, for me, it is not AI that is going to impact on the cognition, but like how it is being used and how we let it, like, or how we evolve with it. And our brain has been so adaptable for whatever change it is. Like in previous days, people used to think on like wars and how to strategize between how we how they are going to win and what are the strategies that needs to be implemented. These were all taken care by higher ups, not the soldiers. Soldiers would be like at the lower level of the area. So I think this disparity might come back and start increasing on upon how it is going to affect each of the person, and also it is going to affect indirectly to people who might have that capability of evolving but won't be able to because of other impacts that AI going to have. That is like, for example, a person newly joined his job and then suddenly got laid off due to AI. Like we already seen the decline of hiring freshers, and that is somewhere impacting emotionally to those freshers where they're not clear on what to learn and where to go. And this kind of unclear clarity is giving a lot of skill gap between um, professionals and freshers. So I think that is mostly it. Like as per the where I stand, such lot of things are still unclear, unsure. But like overall, I would stand on the I do disagree on this part that AI alone is affecting the whole thing.
Okay, just to clarify, Puneet, like when you say like it depends on how you use it, can you offer a specific like as to what would be constructive way of using it and what would be destructive way of using it?
Okay, so now, for example, if I want to draw, I know what I want to draw. Like I'm coming to the artistic part. So I think of I would like to imagine, for example, okay, imagine I want to create a manga and then I have a really good storyline, and then but I don't know how to draw it. So I can do the whole thing. I can give an AI to format these things, and this is my storyline, and this is how I want each character to be, and then this is how I want it to be drawn, and these are the what outfits that I want them to look like. So I can create the whole manga out of my own ideas or whatever it is without having those skill sets, like drawing individual skill set. That is increasing my horizon. And then it is helping me to like go out of my boundary. But when it comes to present situation, uh, like our previous situation, it would be like I have a skill set and I am bound to it. I can't go beyond it. So, like one person using like that, and for students and freshers, how they're using it, they are not at all working on their skills. They're like go online and search for it, and then that is leading to somewhere like not a I don't know how it might be affecting as kids evolve differently and adults evolve differently with respect to new technologies. It is mostly on adaptation, and the results will be seen later, I guess.
Right. So you're speculating that like people who use it early on may not have the opportunity to develop that discretion, that directional ability to use AI constructively. Like in the example that you gave, because it's constructive because you're the one who's the originator of the idea, and you're delegating the lower level
Yeah,
tasks to AI. And for somebody who's
yeah.
not developed that ability to construct and model a certain novel idea, and they're depending on that from a very early age, you're saying that like it might be adverse, right?
Yeah, for someone who did that. But if like there are different categories, even within the students, that is how the job parity will increase, no? If the student works on his skills or his studies focuses on his studies, he will somehow get into a good space in the society. But like the student who doesn't care about studies, who doesn't develop his own skills, he will end up in a different uh, category of the workspace. So that
Okay.
is already there, but it is going to evolve in a way how they are going to use the AI. That is it.
Okay. Got it. All right. Thanks, Puneet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Venkat, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Am I audible?
Yeah, now it's clear. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I think AI does have the effect of reducing cognitive intelligence in some cases. For example, it makes it possible to write code and do other skill tasks without actually knowing what you're doing. For example, I wrote a SQL program without having any background in databases. Right, so it improves productivity and reduces cognitive ability. There are parts of the program that I wrote that I just don't understand. Right, I don't understand the syntax, I don't understand the semantics, but it gives me the results that I wanted. It gives me the output that I wanted, and so I trust it, and so I used it. Right, so it improved my productivity and reduced my cognitive ability. So that's one effect of AI. Another effect that with modern economies becoming more and more advanced, it has been becoming more and more difficult for people with limited skills, limited education, and limited intellect to contribute to the economy. And AI might enable these people to contribute more to the economy. So that would be a positive effect. Uh, there is one corner case or peripheral area where AI might actually help us to improve our cognitive skills. Um, you know, Today AI in its current state does hallucinate, right? Not a lot, but it does hallucinate, and we are going to need cognition and intelligence to detect that. So, in the short run, at least, it might make people more capable of weighing evidence and detecting errors. This is a skill that's lacking in many, perhaps most people. A lot of people tend to believe things that they are told without actually finding out whether the sources or weighing evidence. And so AI will mislead these people unless they learn to detect hallucinations. That's definitely a possibility. But that could be a short-run possibility as AI tools improve rapidly. So at the moment, I think it's still a mixed bag. It's too early to say what the eventual effect of AI is going to be. Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot, Venkat. Yeah, Ami, please go ahead. Ami, can you unmute yourself and speak?
Hi. Hi. Sorry, it took me a moment to find the unmute button.
Okay.
Um, yeah. I think I just basically wanna. I think I'm looking at it from a very different perspective. I mean, one aspect is how it might impact us and stuff when AI is say more present in our world or in our work lives, in our social lives than it is today, which it already is quite like in your face. Even if you don't want to use AI now, most of the apps have like AI automatically integrated in there. Like Google, sometimes I search and it automatically goes into an AI answer when I've not even requested for it. I think it's more like AI is going to not be an option for people. It's going to be forced down our throats in more ways than it is today, and I don't think the technology will sustain this. We already know that this technology requires a high amount of resources from like all the like the genocides that are taking place, the exploitation that's happening, the continuous cobalt that's being mined, like the innumerous stuff, like how it's AI is right now in fact being used to commit genocides more than anything else, more than this chat gpt, and chat gpt being a big help to Israel as well. So like all the structures you'll see right now of how AI is being utilized, it is being utilized for the billionaires. So it's very clear that there is a capitalistic colonized agenda that AI is being pushed forward with. But I don't even think the resources will be enough for it to last too long. Like we don't have that level of like we don't have basic natural resources that's getting more and more scarce. The environmental changes to climate changes to multiple factors, the not just the humans or man-made, specifically man-made destruction that's happening. It's also natural disasters that us indirectly affected or indirectly get become a part of this chaos. So yeah, I don't think we'll have the resources only to sort of create an AI for long enough. Like a couple of years down the line, maybe that level of water that's required, the level of um, mining that's needed, the minerals that's required for all of this to function, the equipment that's needed, for the technology to kind of have a structure as well. Like we, I don't think it'll be there. Like these resources are depleting fast. So whatever AI comes does, it has a specific agenda. I think serving only a very tiny population of humans. The rest of us are pretty much like how it is being used on us. How it's we are like experiment subjects or little lab rats or whatever you call it. But yeah, the control is pretty much not going to be with us, no matter what we how we wish for it to go in whichever direction. It's going to be pretty much controlled by a handful of billionaires. And it won't last too long because the resources required, the planet just doesn't have that for too long, at least, even if it gets like they keep depleting it. So, yeah, I think AI doesn't bother me so much because I don't see a future for it. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very interesting take. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ami. But I just want
Sure.
to do a small pushback on this because
Yes.
anytime a new technology starts, it often starts at like a very like resource hungry fashion. It's almost like
Mm-hmm.
so even when you have a child, it takes a lot of attention to raise a child, and then over time, the child becomes independent. It's almost like that when you look at the history of like computers, when they started out, like they were very massive. Like you had computers the size of an entire room. That's where the mainframes were like how computers started out. And then when you look at it, the
Mm-hmm.
computer is in your smartwatch or your smart ring or anywhere. And
Yeah.
over time, as the technology develops, maybe it's going to be less resource, it's not going to consume as much resources. And also,
Um.
one more thing is that
Yeah.
right now, a lot of these like frontier level models are proprietary based. And if you've seen some of the developments on the open source side, those are like
Mm-hmm.
open. Like you can actually like download an entire model on your own machine, and like you can cut off your
Mm-hmm.
internet, and you can use AI, and you can actually use the technology in whichever way you please. So I'm not really sure if the question of like billionaires controlling it also stands in some way. But you can
Mm-hmm.
take the chance to rebut that, and then I'll go on to the next person if you want.
Yeah. What is the first point? I wanted to just
No,
yeah, the technology, yeah, the resource consumption. Whereas I feel like with all the technology, like it gets cheaper for sure with time, and as I think there's more and more invested into it, it gets more accessible to like a larger population, and it gets cheaper. But I don't think the resources that it requires reduces in any way. Like how many the amount of material and energy that say a phone requires to be processed, to be manufactured, it will take the same amount, and in fact even more, because now the technology is only getting better and better. So probably the resource level is increasing. The thing is, where these resources are coming from today to us, it's coming at almost no cost or at a cost of somebody else's cost, from countries which are not getting their due, because of like this whole system that we live in. So I think if while that keeps happening, like things get cheaper because of that, because of capitalism. But because someone's getting exploited, it's getting cheaper for somebody else. But I don't really think that's a better thing or like a like a so much of like something to appreciate, because I think resource wise, it's still like there are limited resources on this planet, and it is has already been consumed to create a whole bunch of infrastructure development, what we call development. And I don't think that can reduce unless we create better designers. Like with yeah, sure, it can reduce if you create a better design and find ways to have a sustainable model that kind of one helps the other, or something that keeps feeding itself. Like you said, a child or any human or any like living being, a tree, it gets stronger, but it also gives back more. Like in a way, humans in fact consume more than what we do when we were babies. Babies in fact consume quite minimal in comparison to the level of resource consumption that takes place as adults. And again, it depends on each person's where they come from, like which part of the world they come from, and the wealth they come with. So that's how much resource it gets consumed. Also, someone with lesser wealth usually consumes lesser resources on this of this planet than someone with a higher amount of capital wealth. So, but yeah, like don't know how it might turn out, and I don't know about that software program thing. Like there might be specific things which might benefit us also, for sure. There has to be something good which comes out of something very messy, like otherwise it won't, we won't let it happen otherwise. So yeah.
Thanks, Ami. I think Kishan,
Yeah,
you had your hand up while I went in. Yeah, you can go ahead, Kishan.
yeah. So thanks for the second opportunity, Raghav. So I would love to respond to. I'll start with the last speaker. Uh, it sounded less like a point or less like a agreement or disagreement with the topic. It sounded more like a narrative, right? Usually the typical. I don't want to. Can I name a political ideology here, Raghav?
Yeah, for reference, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it sounded typically the combination of left versus communism, left plus communism, which we see in society, right? Create an environment against the industries because you cannot fight them, you cannot do anything about it, right? So try to create a narrative. Earth's resources are less. Humans giving back. I mean, that has to be the biggest. I would say. Uh, it has to be one of the most hilarious points I've ever heard, that humans are giving back. I mean, look at it, like, do we look around ourselves? Humans are giving back. What? Just because someone is poor, he doesn't. Is he not consuming oxygen from the planet? Other planet resources? We are just consuming. This is the humanity's entitlement, which has brought us to this particular level. Look at the roads in and around you. They don't even know how to drive. Humans are giving back. I don't think so. Any animal community or basically anyone is saying that, we want to invent a concept like dink and dank. I don't want to get married. I don't want to do this. It will become social issue, but humans are giving nothing. Just consumption from the planet. You don't even, the typical, the nature's law is that you are born, you are supposed to procreate, and then you are supposed to leave. But humanity at this particular stage, after getting born, says, oh, I am entitled. This planet is mine. I'll consume it and I'll not give anything back. Look at the concepts in and around you. People saying that, I don't want babies. Dude, you're supposed to procreate. That's the law of nature. You are going against the law of nature. So there is a system ultimately getting created to go against your systems. See, anything which is there in and around you, I'm going to tell you something very harsh. It has been created by a human. All the problems, all the challenges that we are facing in and around us, right? It's a humanity's creation, and the thought process is like this. Like, industries are taking away. I mean, come on. We have to really.
Okay, hi.
That's
Sorry,
why.
I think you misunderstood a point
No, that's
of the human thing. It wasn't a human thing. I was talking about life. In fact, I was saying humans hardly give back. I agree with everything you're saying. So, and
no.
also,
So
yeah, this was only in connection to when they said the baby point. So it was in reference to that. But yeah, sticking to AI, I was just like, we don't have enough resources. That was my main point, just to get back to
So
that.
let me just give you a wake up call on that, Amy. Amy, I'm not sure Ami how to pronounce,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, but you can just not get personal. Wake up call or
Okay,
like
not
any
getting personal. Yeah.
such terms. Maybe we can just
Yeah.
keep it
So
little
Kishan,
about the topic. Yeah.
let's
So as I
keep it
mentioned in the
normal
beginning,
intellectual.
we have to be like let's. I'll come back to the main topic. This is where we have to understand that nuance, right? Where we have to literally see what exactly is missing and what exactly we are trying to assume about that entire scenario. So, what I would love to respond to that particular, like resources are not enough. What I see down 30, 40, 50 years, the ultimate resource that the AI need is almost 80 to 85% of humanity. It might sound radical at this particular point of time, but just wait and watch. Okay, we just have to wait and watch, because 80 to 85% of humanity at this particular Point. When I say point, that is 11:52, 16th of May 2026, is useless, literally contributing nothing. Nothing, just consumption. Okay, so the ultimate resource that the AI is going to need is reduction of humanity. And that will happen basically from one single thing, access of resource. Because as simple as that, last 30, 40, 50 years, even with a lot of industrialization and evolution, we have not been able to be, we are living in that, as a humanity, we are living in some kind of a paradise where we think that we are eternal here. The concepts which we see around ki ek hi to zindagi hai. Let's enjoy it to the fullest. I mean, those things have consequences. That consequences comes in long run. If I just have to, and I'll end up by saying this, there was a similar species millions of years ago, if you believe in evolution, right? That dinosaurs also thought that, we are the only one, we are the sole owners of this entire planet. So we just read about them in books. Eventually, there will be a system 50, 100 years from now. Humanity will be a good story for robots.
Okay. I do want to bring in the points of the people who said that this is not related to the topic. And I like to entertain a little bit of digression so that we can see related what the main topic relates to in other domains, because it's not strictly like an academic exercise. We want to see how there are other topics that may be relevant here. So that's why I wanted to hear what Kishan was saying. And I think Kishan, there is a little bit of I think we went sideways on the topic a little bit here. And I think your point is that humans, I think this is more of a philosophical conversation about what is the point of humanity or what is the point of life. And it was okay, but I want to let others speak as well. So I think next person is Namasri Mahadev. Can you unmute yourself, Namasri?
Yes. Hello. Yes. Thank you, team. Thank you for giving me time. So I just want to share my views regarding the topic. Before agreeing or disagreeing, AI is poised to compromise human cognition and intelligence. I just want to remind ourselves of how AI got its inception. Basically, AI is a byproduct of electronics and computer science. So before I use AI in my daily activities, basically I am associated with startup. I'm a co-founder of startup. So we use Mac Mini, NVIDIA, DGX Spark, all those things for deploying AI models and performing the repetitive tasks that needs to be done. And so in this evolution of AI from Alan Turing and all those activities, what I feel is the human cognition and intelligence is with himself only. He just want to give the capability of it to some other object, and he turned into AI. Suppose if we ask a child, some 4-year child, to count five digits, to multiply two into two, he might do it with fingers. I trained him to do it with fingers. But next question he might ask is, why should I do with hands only? Why can't I do with legs? So this kind of intelligence, this kind of critical thinking is something we might lack in future if we keep on utilizing these AI models. This is just a scenario based thing. Next, regarding habituating the AI into our real-time processes and on daily basis, what I feel from the core is we might the systems which we have built since the evolution, the traditions, the culture, and all those things, while integrating the technology, since we are not aware of AI and how it works, we don't know how to apply AI into real life. That makes AI compromise the human cognition and intelligence. So if needed, before we try experimenting it, so we might conduct some work, not we, like who are producing the AI products might conduct some vocational training on how to apply it and how it can add value to the humanity. Yes, that's what. And pertaining to artistic minds, artistic things, this is science and technology. While using AI in artistic video editing and content writing and all those movies and all those stuff, uh, what we tend to miss is we tend to miss the aesthetic beauty. That is, we tend to miss the beauty because we try to normalize the things that are meant to be specific for a specific audience. So there also it tries to compromise. AI gets poised to compromise the human cognition. So in some cases I agree with this statement, and in some cases I disagree. But at the end of the day, AI is meant to add value and represent our work in the whole. So we need to assess ourselves in a constructive path on how to apply it. Yes, that's it, guys. Thank you for the time.
All right, thanks, Namaste. Advaita, please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, this is also my first time I'm attending the debate. What I'd like to say is I agree that AI is poised to compromise human intelligence, but not because of the tool itself, rather because of how it's applied. For example, when OpenAI first dropped, this new revolutionary technology was suddenly dropped on us with no warning, mainly as a sort of ad campaign to gain widespread attention. But the problem is this came at a very human cost. No one knows how to handle this technology or deal with it appropriately. And so we get predatory uses of AI no one knows how to handle yet. One infamous example is social engineering. For example, there are certain scam compounds that actually employ workers or people. They use social engineering to form a bond with the victim. Even if they can't speak English properly, or even if they don't know what to say, they can easily use AI to manipulate the person into forming a relationship and begin to scam them. I'm sure you've all seen the various ads and whatnot. Similarly, there are things like deepfakes, there's impersonation, there's forgery. All of these things become so much easier, but no one knows how to handle it because the main concern of OpenAI and similar companies is to gain attention. At the start, it doesn't seem to cause much harm. No one knew how bad things would get. But currently, even the US, even us today, we don't have proper regulations combating against AI, and we're having more and more predatory uses of AI. The most susceptible age group being 17 to 25, our age group. Like, I assume most of the people here are younger than 30. Already, for example, I remember Ekta, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, mentioned homogenesis. Sorry, I'm getting so nervous.
It's totally fine, Advaita. Go ahead. It's a safe space. You can speak your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. What the main thing these AIs take use of is anthropomorphization. Basically, we see the AI as human. It's an inherent bias of ours. Even 60 years ago, 1966, there was the first chatbot known as Eliza. It ran on a specific script that's sort of a very simple script. But eventually, the assistant of the scientist who created this started asking him to leave the room so she could converse with the chatbot privately. This is in 1966. It's not an advanced AI like we're dealing with right now, but already this well-educated woman is forming an emotional connection to an AI, and she's assistant to this person. So what happens when you expose hundreds of millions of young people who are uneducated, who don't know how to handle this, to an almost lifelike AI? Multiple things can happen. They can form an emotional attachment, and they can start to trust the AI more than they trust themselves. This is also mentioned in the source document, where people who trust the AI more than themselves show reduced critical thinking. Maybe it comes from an earlier lack of self-confidence or lack of help, but they start to lose faith in themselves and their own minds. They're the first ones who stop using their brains. And which is what leads to a dependence on the AI and what leads to reduced critical thinking. The main predatory aspect comes with when beyond just searching for information, we start to use it for emotional dependence. I'm sure everyone's seen those character AI ads where or virtual boyfriends or girlfriends. Already the mental health of adolescents or the youth is kind of bad. Depression became the number one cause of human suffering and human disability, I think, in 2015 or something. Like previously, it was traffic and cancer and all. Then it became depression. So, already in this environment, you have this lifelike AI who does not judge you no matter what you say, who you can trust, who seems much more trustworthy than your parents, much more trustworthy than your friends. And you don't have to worry about being sent to a psychiatric clinic. You don't have to worry about being judged. So automatically, you're going to trust this a lot more. You're going to become emotionally dependent and you're going to stop using your brain or developing those skills. And you won't be able to recognize when the AI starts hallucinating information or becomes an echo chamber. Already, there are kids like I remember a 14-year-old who committed suicide because of some conflict with his AI girlfriend. For some reason, his parents weren't able to recognize when exactly he was having trouble. He wasn't able to reach out and he wasn't able to gain access to resources. So, all of these points combined, I believe there is the predatory use of AI that causes these harmful side effects we're seeing now. We already know that AI is causing negative impacts, but it's because of how we're using it. Otherwise, AI can be used for good. For example, Stanford RCT study about Tutor Copilot. This is mentioned in the document that was sent. It showed the strongest gains for underprivileged kids. Oh yeah, and one more point I'd like to address.
Advaita, like your time's up. Like I don't know if you've been paying
Sorry.
attention, but there's a 5 minute limit on
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of people waiting. You can join the queue again, and you can
Wait, I
expand
just
your
want to
point.
mention just one last point.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Earlier it was mentioned that we may not have enough resources to support AI, but we'll see there's actually a push for renewable energy, specifically nuclear energy, which has historically been declined or dismissed constantly. It's because of nuclear energy. Like it's a double-edged sword. It's bad AI is sucking up so much power, but it's forcing people to address nuclear energy, which was often neglected or denied. But it also means we might actually be have to support AI and deal with it for longer. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Advaita. Yeah, Shardul, please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm having some internet issues and I was disconnected the call earlier. So at any point, if my audio does cut out, please do inform me.
Okay.
First of all, thanks to Raghav for this, sir. And it's my first time here. I think I'm the eighth or ninth speaker, and like most of those who have preceded me on this, I also agree with the statement. And for me, human intelligence, it's about producing answers. You have to have the ability to think, have to reason, you have to remember, analyze things. You have to solve problems either independently or with people. And I believe that the AI tools that we have today, they're replacing all these processes. So, for example, one of the first things that Raghav mentioned was how people are using AI to write mails, or even the fact sheet that we were presented was done using cloud. And for me, that is an issue because fundamentally, if you are relying on a tool or a technology to do something for you, you progressively lose the ability to do it yourself. What that means for me that our over dependence on AI is going to try to communicate critical abilities over time. And one of the things I will mention fact sheets that clicked for me was the argument that calculators and use of Google did not actually do much damage for us. And I had an issue with that because calculators didn't reduce our mathematical intelligence over time. Yes, what they did was they reduced only what we were doing manually. The manual computation was reduced so that humans could move toward conceptual thinking. AI replaces the conceptual thinking part. If you give a kid a calculator, a kid who does not know calculus, and if you give the kid a question on calculus and a calculator, the kid will not be able to get an answer. But that same child with that same question, but instead of a calculator, if you give them a word, they will have an answer. My issue is that
Madhur, we're starting to lose you. Okay, the
writing
audio
from there.
audio is like spotty now. Can you please check your connection?
Uh,
Okay, maybe Shardul, you can come back when your connection is more stable. I'm gonna let Devnil start. Devnil, so go ahead.
Is this better?
Shardul, you're speaking. Okay. I think yeah, now it's better. Go ahead. If you had something to finish, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I was saying the point that we are actually training an entire generation from childhood that they don't need to think something, they don't need to memorize something, they don't actually even need to understand something. They just need an AI tool and they'll have an answer. Some of the points that were raised previously, Puneet said about the impact on kids, which I agree with. With an entire generation starts believing or starts growing up on the fact that they don't need a critical understanding of anything, that whatever they are lacking, there's a tool available for them that will do it. They stop thinking about these things eventually. There was questions about how sustainable the development of AI is. And for me, the fact is that if there are a select group of people who are going to be adversely impacted by however we are exploiting the resources to develop AI, the history of humanity states that these people's exploitation will be justified in the conscience of the global population, which is what happens in every sector of manufacturing. And we have accepted this. The underprivileged or people who I have lost my chain of thought here.
Okay,
So
I
I
think
think I've
we
lost.
get the gist of like what you're trying to say, Shardul. Yeah. You can get back in the queue. We have this bunch of people waiting to speak.
Sure.
Yeah, Devnil, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Raghu. So I would like to highlight few things over here. So after hearing everyone, I think many those who are making a point that AI would be affecting cognitive intelligence or the behavior, but so, they are not much sure because they don't have much of evidence or the instances over here or how it is going to shape in future. But few things we also need to keep in mind that this AI is a technology, right? And technology is always always needs a language, like if we are going in some other country or city, like then we need to adapt to their language, we need to communicate with their language, and this is what AI is also doing. So when you ask something to AI or you give any prompt for the output, you need to be more specific. So I don't agree with this thing that AI is going to affect the cognitive behavior, though it is going to replace the many of repetitive tasks which is already we are doing or which is already in already stored in on the web or anywhere. Second main, see, there is going to be a disparity at present. Also, there is disparity in the among the people in the society. So again, it is going to be depend on how beneficial it is going to be used or not used. Thirdly, so now this is completely different issue. How this thing is going to be reached in everyone's hand still, where the internet is not there. So in future, where the internet would be available, and these things would be made available to them, and then they would be starting using these things and getting benefit from this thing. Again, this there is always a advantage and disadvantage also. So whatever negative instances what we are listening are very percentage very small and very specific, you can say, or very minimalist. So I think this technology could be a great advantage. It could prove to be a great advantage. Thanks.
Sorry, Shweta, you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. I just didn't get the lead. Like I couldn't hear anything for a moment.
Okay.
Hi everyone, and this is also my first time I'm participating in any such thing. And I am agreeing and disagreeing to it. Like we said, we're here for a discussion and not to strongly stand with one point. And all the points that you guys made were all excellent. And I agree to a lot of them when it comes to the short-term effects of AI. But when we're talking about long-term or super long-term, when we're talking about decades later, like one thing that we'll all agree on firstly is that AI takeover is inevitable, that it's going to happen whether we like it or not, with all the side effects and with all the bad things that it's doing to us. It's going to happen either ways. But decades or even centuries later, after it's been in practice, we might have laws in place to prevent its misuses or heal from its drawbacks, or how somebody was mentioning the movie Her, or how people are falling in love with AI or catching emotions or befriending AI, all of that. So we'll have like decades after, we'll have like plans in place to heal from all of that, or to have like you know a working whatever, like law in place to prevent it, even its misuses or whatever. We I feel like us as a humanity, we will then have time long after all our jobs would have been taken over, by the way, with AI. We'll have, us as a humanity, we'll have more time for larger problems like reversing climate change or curbing pollution, or imparting more man force to things like space exploration, bettering the technology there, so we can inhabit a different planet when our time comes. um, uh, just a second. I've actually made pointers and I'm reading out from them. But yeah, or we can also have like, we'll have more free time to then improve our quality of life, us as a humanity, and not on an individual level, where we'll like our cognizance when they'll be united. I don't know if any of y'all must have watched the Pluribus series that just came out. It actually shows the entire humanity being polluted by a virus or some kind of an alien substance that basically merges all of their intelligence and merges their like cognizance. And if that is to happen, say because of AI, if everybody on their phone is being able to do the same thing, then with a larger with a larger intelligence like that, we'll then focus as humanity, and not as much on an individual level, which will then lessen things like genocides or things like all the everything that's wrong with the world right now. We won't be fighting so much with each other. There won't be so much inequality. There won't be insecurity on an individual level, if you're talking about. There won't be a lot of the things, because we'll all be equal at some point or the other, and we'll then progress together as humanity. Another thing is that just a second. Yeah, so the to sum up that, like, my whole point is that the surge of AI doesn't take away from humanity's cognition as a whole. It in fact adds to it, because it's a promise to make like the things faster. Like, we are anyways going to reach Mars, but we might as well accelerate the pace of it by giving some of our earthly work to a machine, so that we can like solve larger problems that are actually impacting us, rather than just working as a slave for money or things like that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my.
All right. I just want to like add a small point to some of the discussion that's going on. See, in my personal view, like I feel like a lot of the lower level tasks are going to be delegated. When, let's say that you start off like at the age of 18, you start like building a business. You start doing all the low level tasks, and then as you progress higher, further, like you'll typically like delegate the lower level tasks to somebody else. You'll hire somebody else to do that stuff. And in a lot of ways, that's what AI is also coming up to be, because the more competence it gains, it is going to be something that people will start hiring, not hiring, but like, yeah, in a way you are paying for it. So it can be like considered hiring, but you're hiring it to replace the things that are more mundane. And your attention is now being spent on things that does require challenging ideation and creative thinking and all the other things. So in that sense, yeah, if you use AI to delegate the more mundane aspects, the more deterministic things, then it's going to be more, it's going to, like, push push the baseline of like your activities a little bit higher, so that your attention can go on to the higher level activities that you can do. And there is going to be an economic incentive. Like today, even if you don't do anything, if you I mean, without the AI into the picture, you there is an economic incentive to act more intelligently. Why do we train ourselves? Why do we go to school? Why do we educate ourselves? Because there is an economic incentive to the people who are acting at the top level, who are exercising their intelligence to the highest. Because like the economic models that we have are going to result in better dividends to people who do add more value to society. Um, so those same principles are going to be in play even after the inclusion of AI into our lifestyle. So even with AI into the picture, the people who are able to leverage AI better, they're going to be able to delegate the more mundane aspects of life, and then they're going to be able to advance faster. And the people who don't use AI, they're not going to be able to operate at the same level, at the same pace. And those people who are, I guess, like, they are dependent on AI for doing even the most mundane things, where they're not able to, like, even arrive at a point where they've trained themselves to do the mundane things, and now they're able to delegate it to others. I think they'd be the ones who are going to suffer, because like they have not really trained themselves to do even the basic things. Because those things, when you do those basic things, it actually amounts to your own learning. And when you don't do those, you basically forego that process where your learning happens. So in a way, like I'm just like trying to like summarize all of the points that I've heard, and adding some of my own. And I think Barnaby, you had your hand up for a little bit. I'm not really sure uh, if you didn't want to, share your thoughts. If you do you want to speak? Yeah.
Yes, can I speak now?
Yes, Barnaby, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to, I went over, I listened to everyone, and I kind of agree with a few people, as well as completely disagree with a lot of other people. So let's say Kishore, initially he was speaking, and Neil as well. So what they said is, quite a lot of people said this, that um, AI is going to be used for consistent and repetitive tasks. And even Neil gave an example of, AI kind of summarizing your searches. And so that helps, that is good for us. And I quite disagree with that, because it is only one feature, first of all. It's only one feature of many things that AI is. And okay, so I'll just launch into what I was actually going to say. So you might you might think I'm a very conservative person for this, but I strongly believe in this. And um, so I believe that technology has advanced enough for the human species. This might be a very conservative belief. And I believe that we do not need to progress any more further with technology. So, and there's a reason for that. So if you look, if you look back at history and how we've evolved and everything, and with technological development over time, you can easily see this, that because of how we are, evolutionary wise, we are evolved. We always seek comfort as humans, so we try to make things more and more comfortable, and because of that, a lot of you said, I agree with most of it. I think Venkat spoke about, you know, the lack of skills, the lack of like skills being developed. Even Puneet spoke about Um, Puneet said that, without the skill set, we can do something. But he said that it will help us broaden our horizon. But I don't agree with that. I mean, what about the mastery of the specific discipline? So let's say uh, you do not know anything about animation and you're trying to develop videos through prompting. So what about like people who have, spent their lifetime or many years mastering that field, and you know, they've they're doing it through hard work. They're learning a skill. So isn't that a bad thing uh, that you're able to do something without mastering the skill set, and that you're just able to, I agree with Dave Shardul quite a lot. It replaces conceptual thinking. It makes you over dependent, and that's quite clear. It's not just helping you summarize your searches or doing consistent repetitive things. And Raghav also said that you said that if we only use it for the mundane repetitive tasks, then it'll be a good thing. But if you look at society, if you know anything about the society of today, the reality is that, and I agree with Amy what she said, it's going to be forced down our throats, or it serves a capitalistic agenda, and it's all about money. I think Shweta was very idealistic and very utopian. She said a lot of things which are so idealistic, which is hard to believe, because she said it's going to help us focus more on humanity, on climate change. But even if you look at the 21st century, we have quite a lot of technology for the 21st century. But if you look at the world of today, uh, how much of our world is being, I hope you can hear me, how much of our world is serving the needs of, the poor, the underprivileged, and how much percentage of the world is really getting benefited from all the technology? So I agree with Amy. The capitalistic overlords, they control all of it, and it's all something for money. And we are like, the experimental test subjects, and it's going to serve a minority of the population who are making money off of this. And I agree with even I think it was Shweta. Sorry, it was. Uh, I guess it was Ekta and another girl. So she said that AI is going to reduce, creativity, the uniqueness. Like it's going to make everything homogeneous, and so that is another thing.
Okay. Thanks, Manavi. So, yeah, Nishant, you can go ahead next.
So I think what I'll share is maybe two examples of my stance, and then maybe my observation from everyone's what everyone has said today. I think for me at least, I lie somewhere in the middle. I think based on what you also said, Raghav, is like there are instances of low-level effort tasks that AI could help, just take care of easily. While in certain, and you do want that, so you do get the time to focus on better problems. But then, of course, there's that spectrum of things where maybe you do need that learning without any helping hand, because going through that discomfort of learning is what essentially helps you. But the context also makes a lot of difference, I think. So, for example, me as an aspiring writer, uh, AI could help me summarize open public works to understand the structure of writing, which helps as an initial way to critically understand how great writing is structured. But on the other side, to actually be a published writer, I need to learn the muscle to sit and write regularly till I hit a certain number of words, which if I were to rely on AI for that, it doesn't build that muscle, and then that's like it doesn't help me become the author, or rather try to it more on the worst side, where it's like you try to get published as a writer who just uses AI material. But in the other side, so that's more of a personal context. In a more larger context, me working in the pharma domain, I see like if you do have technology which allows you, let's say, to do drug discovery really fast, then it does open a lot of opportunities for better health options for the general public. Uh, but at the same side, uh, even big pharma companies could really use AI to discard technology, but also keep it to themselves, or use it in other ways which aren't maybe ethical on the same front. So I think it comes down to which maybe then coming to my observations from everyone's point is this question has like a lot of dimensions to it, and maybe those require more attention. So when we say like what's the impact of AI on our cognitive abilities, I think the questions of like who's in control of the technology, who's introducing it, are there capitalistic forces behind it, how is it being consumed, where is it being consumed, what do we mean by when we say cognitive intelligence. So I think those questions make a lot of difference. And yeah, I think yeah, I'll close that.
All right,
Thank
thanks a
you.
lot, Nishant. So we haven't heard from Beethoven, so I'm going to let Beethoven speak first, and then we can go to you, Kishan.
Okay, thanks.
And we
Am I
will.
audible?
Yes, you're audible, and I just want to mention that like we typically like to close at 12:30. Like we run it for like an hour and a half, and we're gonna finish this round, letting Beethoven speak, and then Kishan, and then I'll also like conduct a poll again to see like if people's opinions have changed. So yeah, Beethoven, please go ahead.
Okay, thanks for letting me speak. I'm not much of a public speaker. Like, I just have attended few. I mean, this is my first debate, and what my position is, I'm kind of, I'm ideologically a transhumanist. Means I do believe that in future, humanity will enhance to a level that wherein our technology and our own identity would be completely, I mean, unable to be differentiated. And in same line, I think, uh, mean um, any technology that we develop would ir irreversibly would impact our cognitive abilities. And so it's same case with AI. Uh, um, I'm sorry, I'm not good in public speaking, but uh, I have few points. I'm just enumerating those points what I have came thinking of. One point was related to how technology merges with humans, and I remember hiding a note on this. Who said when a hammer was invented, a hammer man got a new entity named hammer man came. Similarly, when AI comes, there is a high possibility in near future our mind would kind of merge with AI's cognitive architecture. The only thing what the only thing, despite this positivism, I'm very much skeptical, in fact pessimist of this in future merger, is because of this very question: will it pose as a compromise for our cognitive ability? Because as Namashri Madhav said in the same group, that the cognitive model of AI is Turing machine, whereas in case of humans, it is not yet known. We do not know what's the theoretical model of our comprehension and understanding. I mean, what is the computational model for comprehension? That's something which no psychologist has ever found yet. Yet in case of computer, we are completely, I mean, convinced, and we know what is the theoretical model that drives computations or algorithms in computers. And our brains is not the same way. Our thinking level is not cannot be reduced to binary numbers. Whereas in case of AI, it's we know it layers by layer. Uh, it's a transformer on a neural network under a Markov chain probabilistic model, and we know it's a linear algebra all the way down. Whereas in case of our neural architecture, our neural architecture of human mind, we do not have a concrete oversimplification to mathematical level. And that's why on a foundational level, the merger of humans with AI is kind of murky, because physics of everything is known, whereas physics of machine learning itself is I mean, what I mean by physics of machine learning is I have seen equations in physics that applies same to statistical models too, and those same equations are used in machine learning. But what let it be, this point is, I mean, too complicated. Even I haven't uh, get into the crux of what I want to say, but I just move on to my next point. My next point is most of the data AI is trained on is also does contains a human bias. So what I think is AI zoom ins or I mean scale up those bias, and we are indirectly our interaction or our merger with AI, though not biologically symbiotic merger, but even even an interaction or use of AI in our task is kind of a merger in a I mean fluid sense. That merger also I mean exacerbate those human biases. And since we are not sure of our own cognitive architecture, so it's kind of I mean digging our own mind or by offloading our own memory faculty to AI, offloading our reasoning skills to AI, because once AI onboards those things what our human mind is capable of, don't you think in a long run in evolution, in evolutionary our mind would stop I mean giving energy to it. For example, our mind is most efficient machine. It just works on 20 watt per hour. So that's I mean 20 joule per hour. So that's much more efficient than AI, which needs a nuclear reactor. And we can see a I mean complete all huge mechanistic difference between AI and human mind. Uh,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's why I think why AI is poised to compromise human cognition.
Okay.
Sorry for my non-fluency and
No worries. Thanks, Beethoven, for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, Kishan, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Raghav, for giving me that opportunity. So, let me just start. See, I'm more of a person who believes in uh, being real, not in some kind of a la la land. So, just to from that point of view, whenever we debate or discuss topics of this stature, the the underlying principle should be one, irrespective of personal opinions, personal nuances. The my personal belief is everything has just one outcome, right? So just to quote, if if you inhale oxygen, you will just leave out, you will exhale carbon dioxide. There you can give not thousands, one can give thousands of nuances to that, but that process won't change, right? So what I personally believe is that any topic that we discuss in general is a composition of socio-economic factors, right? So for example, we can say that I want to be apolitical, but whether we like it or not, something on a geopolitical level happens, it impacts us. AI is one of the results of that, right? So with all the opinions that I have heard, what I'm drawing down to is there is a clear-cut narrative. It's not fact-based. It's not realistic. It's more emotion-based, social-based, humanity first. Like always, like from last almost 400, 500 years, we have been just doing that. As humans, we have been just doing that. Humans, what about humans? What about equality? Okay, you cannot. But the realistic matter of the fact is people are not equal. We are not, no matter what we say. And if you just go back to the pattern recognition, which AI is master of and mastering it actually, if you give the full potential to it, even humans are, just like that. It's mimicking humans. Humans are also, they learn, they do mistakes, they learn from that mistake. That's called as pattern recognition. So the process is very similar. Today, if AI is at a very nascent stage, it is just like a child. When he's helpless, when he's dependent on family, parents for money, once the same child grows and starts earning, so the socio-economic factor, I think, comes to play. right? So even in this particular topic, I think the diverse way of looking would be, or the most comprehensive way to look at it is include all the factor, not nuances, and then we put forward the points that make sense, right? So from a simple conclusive point, what I would like to mention here is AI as a topic. It's a very interesting topic, lot of opinions, everything makes sense, right? But the reality is AI is going to replace the humanity in a way which we have not thought as of now. Again, because that is our own lack of awareness, not someone else's mistake. Like in general, like with other thought processes or the pointers that I've heard here, is that whatever we do actively, like we go to porn sites, we watch porn, and then we blame the company for producing porn. Like companies are creating porn. Arey yaar, stop watching. It's just like the influencer's life, right? Everyone says that these politicians, they divide us. Okay? Arey, who is telling you to get divided? Don't get divided, no. See, at the end of the day, for everything, we have that particular choice. But what we do is we do that, we execute everything, and then we blame the system instead of just looking inwards, right? Same thing we are doing with AI and this particular topic also. Every pointer that basically I came across, it's either some kind of a genocide related, it's either some kind of a humans will not be able to do this, humans will not be able to do that. I think we did this with all the technologies that came. When computers came, we did the same thing. We did the same thing with social media. I came to hear about uh, someone mentioning about law. After in future there will be laws, right? Yeah, there is law for rape also. Still, the brutalist of the cases humanity is doing, we come to know, we come across those things. Law is not the definition. There was a time when slavery was legalized. So do you think that that was right? And slavery stopped? No. See, we have to leave all those agenda, billionaires, money-making systems and all that, right? It's our system. Somehow we have made entire humanity that has intelligence, that should be aware, that should be more conscious. We somehow have removed everything and we just have come to an acceptance that we are the victims, right? The AI topic itself, every matter, every pointer, that documentation, even someone mentioned about Raghav saying that, it was, the document was used, some AI was used to create that document. Sir, ideas would be Raghav's, structuring would be Raghav's, that entire mechanism, how to presentation skill, it would be Raghav's. Everything is not AI. AI does not have consciousness. Let's understand as of now. Till date, AI does not have its own consciousness. So consciousness is of Raghav's. Executioner is the AI. This is how AI is going to take over the cognition. Cognition, which actually we don't use, right? And people who are using their cognition, AI can't or will never be able to do that. That is the difference between a human and a system created by human.
All right. Wonderful session. I really thank everybody for joining in and sharing your points of view. And I've heard like so many different points of view right now, and it's really difficult to summarize everything. But I have like opened up the poll. I want all of you guys to like respond to this. So we had an earlier in the beginning, I had a poll in which like I think majority of the people agreed to the statement. Out of the 15 people who responded, 8 people said they agree, and then they disagree was like 3 people, like it was 20%. So 50% of the people agreed, and then 20% disagreed, and then 27% were unsure. And now when I look at the results, like I see 6 out of 9 people have responded. So there's like a 30% split across all 3 options, like 30% agree, 30% disagree, and 30% are unsure. And I mean, I think some of the people who responded also left, so it's not really a fair comparison. But I think that I hope that people came in with certain perspective and they leave back with at least an understanding of what the other people think, and or at most you gain clarity in your own reasoning and also a clearer understanding of what other people think. And ultimately, at the end of the day, like we want people to like sort of refine their own understanding and perspectives through this exercise. And I want to maybe get some feedback on this. Like, what do you guys think? Like, what was your experience of being part of this session? Did you learn something or thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Kishan.
So, interesting topic. Thanks for organizing this, Raghu. Uh, Appreciate all the efforts that you took to moderate this entire session. Uh, Second thing, that the just a suggestion, you can think about it, and because at the end of the day you have to execute it. I'm just giving a suggestion. So, I think the initial first 35 minutes, what we can do is, we can just have everyone give an opening statement, right? And once for the opening statements are done, right? A lot of people, I was just observing the chats also to what, let's say I am saying something, people had certain thoughts about it. So you can just pause for 2 minutes and ask like if anyone wants to rebut that, right? So, a lot of people, whenever you say something, what happens is a lot of chain of thoughts comes. But वो queue में ना, at times it just goes off. So just a suggestion.
Okay, so you're saying that like whenever somebody makes an opening statement, you want other people to rebut that, and then they go on to the next
Post
person?
30, first,
Okay.
first 30 minutes of the session, right? You can just follow the queue system where everyone is just giving their opening statements. Post that 30 minutes, right? Once the speaker has spoken, you can just ask everyone that if anyone wants to rebut it.
Okay. Does anybody want to rebut any of the things that was said by any of the people who opened?
Yeah, the last speaker, just the previous speaker. Let's say I am speaking, right? Post that, I'm done speaking. You can just ask people that if anyone wants to rebut Kishan. If no one, we can move with the next speaker. That way.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we'll consider that. Yeah. Thank you. And Ekta, did you have something? Yeah. Thanks, Kishan. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just wrap up quickly. But thanks for conducting this. This was fun and quite different. And I really liked how you made it allowed everybody to just speak their mind and not cut them off, which was pretty good. I just feel like sometimes it would get get a little monotonous with people repeatedly speaking. So we could, I don't know what's the way to encourage more viewpoints. That would be one. And then second was I didn't understand the format where people could give a rebuttal right away, while others had their hands raised. So yeah, I would like to know that a little bit, and also the document that you shared in the beginning, that was quite helpful in going through different parts that we could think about. But is there a way that we could add to that document if we have a different point of view or something else to cover? Not just agreeing or disagreeing, but if you're unsure what you're unsure about. For example, even till date, I don't think there's a binary answer to this debate, right? There is so much more to explore.
Yeah. So first of all, regarding the document, yes, the document has suggestion permission. So anybody can add a comment on there, and if you had a question on there, you can just add a comment there, and I would just I would approve it, and then everybody can see that. So it does have the permissions. You can just go to the document and then modify it and try to add suggestions. And the second thing is, yeah, regarding the diversity, the turns, how do you take the turns? Like for example, if somebody already spoke 2 times, do we still give them a third chance while other people are waiting who haven't spoken yet? I think this time, basically, I went through the order that people raised their hand with. And I think maybe I would just in the next sessions, we'll just allow people who haven't spoken first, and then push the people who already spoken to the end of the queue. So those are some things, and we're really trying to make this as easy to organize as possible as well, because there is an overhead in terms of moderation, and it takes me to take off my time and listen to the whole thing, because I've been wanting to take a drink of water, and I haven't been able to in the past hour and a half because I have to sit here and listen to everything, right? So there is an overhead, and I also run a startup, and we are building a product that eventually we can move this to where we can delegate some of these things to an automation feature where it will take care of the turn process and all that. And that's still in the works, and it eventually maybe will allow people to test on that, and it'll be something that we can think about. But for now, everything is done manually, and I'm really taking it a case by case basis, where how we make decisions. But yeah, I think we can probably increase the diversity by allowing people who haven't spoken first to start first. Yeah, Advaita, you had something?
Sorry, yeah. I just wanted to say, yeah, it was quite a wonderful experience. It was quite interesting to hear everyone's viewpoints and all that. And as for the previous concern, what if we change the model a bit for, like, say, three questions towards the speaker can be asked, and they have to give a brief summary or brief answer. I think that could help a lot, especially with the whole rebuttal system. And then um, they could say ask for your permission if the person who's asked the question wants to again ask something. I know it involves like a bit more regulation perhaps from you, but it could be helpful,
No,
like
yeah,
just
that's
for this
a good
suggestion.
point. Yeah. So like if somebody, I think I like the thing that Kishan mentioned, like where we let the people have their opening statement, and then after that, whenever they say something, you can have like a couple, I'll open it up for people who want to rebut that, and then we'll take on to the next set of people. I think, and the other thing is, you mentioned something about three questions. I see anytime we follow something like a formula, it typically tends to degrade because there's a diversity of people that are coming in. Some of these
Yeah.
people they don't have the full clarity on this, and when you have like static like formulas like that, I think it that's why like I'm trying to like be more spontaneous, and I'm trying to like improvise my response according to what the status my assessment of like how things are going. So I think at this stage it's probably best we don't like rely on these uh, like formula.
Formulas.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But I still think that like some practice would be good. Like depending on how volatile or packed the speech is, maybe allow five questions, maybe allow two, like a maximum. Maybe it could help.
yeah.
But overall,
No, I
it's
think
still a
I
great
think the
session.
rebuttal system itself like takes care of that. If you have any questions, then you can just use the rebuttal thing to address that. But I'm not really sure if 2 minutes will be enough because like anytime somebody starts speaking, they end up taking like maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes to complete that full train of thought. So we'll have to
Mm.
see like how that goes because time management is also important. I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak and they're not like just it's all lining up behind like one tangent. I think people are already like getting like when I think Kishan and Ekta were speaking, the people are already like getting nervous in the comments saying like this is like getting out of like the topic. But we want to keep it like I don't want to be like too strict about the direction because like a lot of the times it's in the tangents where like the substance is like the because like nothing is like isolated. Everything has like interconnected repercussions
Yeah.
and other things. So we want to like keep the conversation fluid. So it's a really it's an act of balance where we try to like keep things in line and also like keep the not be too strict about the boundaries. Yeah, that's why like it's all like done on a fluid basis.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right,
Will there
Beethoven. Yeah.
will there be more sessions conducted in the future, like next month or?
No, yeah, we'll be having like every week Saturday at 11 a.m. we have the sessions. I'll be like scheduling
Hmm.
the other future sessions based on the poll. We had a poll, right? Like I don't know if you were part of the poll, but basically we had
Yeah.
like about
So
10 topics. So we'll sort it based on like the ones that had the most votes, and this one was the one that had the most votes. So I've scheduled it at the first in the next slot, and then the next one would be the one that had the second highest number of votes. Like that, we'll have it all the sessions will be available on our meetup page. So you should join the meetup page and you'll get the notifications over there. Yeah.
okay.
Thanks,
Yeah. Beethoven, go ahead. Yeah.
Thanks, thanks, Raghav, for conducting this session, and also thanks for everyone for tolerating this stuttering. Why everybody spoke so beautifully and I mean so fluently and nicely, and were able to put on their thoughts and put off their thoughts to screen while I was just swimming in the sea of thoughts and not knowing, I mean, how to coherently present everything. This actually inspired me of a very selfish idea which I'm suggesting. It's on you. It's just a suggestion and nothing compulsory. What I think I've felt in many people's thought that they had many things to say or complete, and even in chats I saw many people were trying to complete their trail of thoughts. So what I was thinking is, since it's a community and uh, so a group can be made, right? I mean, if you don't mind, a group
We
can be
do have a
made where
group.
people
We do
can.
have a group on WhatsApp, and I've blocked the messaging feature because like it's only for updates right now. Because like anytime that I've opened up like group discussions, it tends to require a lot of moderation. and I didn't have the
Yeah,
time
yeah,
to
yeah.
moderate
Every
it.
group does require lots of moderation. Yeah, I agree, agree. People spam, people put on advertisements, people try to promote, scam, lot of things. Yeah, I agree, agree.
Yeah,
It's very difficult to find a place where uh, people just
yeah.
come and share their thoughts and interact with each other thoughts just for, I mean, the love of wisdom and thoughts. Yeah, I guess that's what philosophy is.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand all moderation
All right.
complexities. Yep.
All
Thank
right, guys. Thanks a lot for joining. I request each of you, like, if you enjoyed the session, please come in next time, and also like maybe bring somebody else that you believe would enjoy this. And we want to, like, involve like as many diverse points of view as possible. So that's about it for this session. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll connect next time. Keep watching of the updates on the WhatsApp channel. All right then. Thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.